Nahaganissinga. Welcome back, everyone, to Rising Warriors. Rochelle Kulei. We are on season 3.
Wow.
Yay! Um, so I did a lot of praying for this upcoming season, and then also with my mother here, Rochelle. We put a lot of prayer into this next coming season, and one of the biggest discussions that we've both been having with others is religion versus spirituality, and a lot of people blending the two together when really there's a difference. And so, in the native way, we own into our spirituality. And so, we are going to be throughout the season, we are going to be talking about different ways of what that spirituality mean, um, different ways that, while walking on our paths, that we can own into our own spirituality, our own connection to Creator, and really living our own journey and our own staying on our own path in the times that we're in now. So today we're going to start with, what does it mean to follow the path? So, in Indigenous traditional teaching, following the path is living a life where one is seeking harmony and spirituality in all ways. However, the path is one that leads to Creator, and there are many ways to walk it. So, I'm
Mm.
excited to be talking on these things. So, welcome back,
Thank you,
Rochelle,
Rachel.
Mother. And well, we'll just get started.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? My
Yeah, I
volume, is it
can.
okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is important. What does the path mean? And often in indigenous tribes, they also call it the Red Road. So the Red Road, it's all about how are you living your life to get to the Creator, and everyone has a different way and has a walk that is different from each other, but there are many ways to walk this path, the Red Road. And I just think I've been thinking a lot, but about our divine beings. We were born, okay, with a spiritual existence. We are the same. We are divine beings, and we have this. We have spiritual intelligence. It's when we experience difficulties and hardships that like block the vision of who we are, and we start to give in and have a false perception of ourselves, and then it blocks our vision of how we see others as well. And I think it's important that at any time, everyone needs to know we can get back on that path. We can get back on there no matter what we've done, or going through these hardships. We still can be directed in the Creator's, the vision I know that that He and all those who lived on before us, they knew who we were coming, and the way they lived their lives for us. And so I think it's important to think about how we honor that, and how are we going to get back on if we're not on the path. How are we going to get back on? So this whole series that you're going to do this season is going to be talking about how to live on that path. And so they're in segments, so we're not going to talk about everything because there's no time for that. I mean, there is time, but we got other things to do, obligations to do. So we'll do them in little short increments, right,
Hmm.
through the season. So I think we need to think about that when I'm looking at some of my notes, but through our experiences in life, when we suffer and have this disconnection of who we are, then that's when the path gets super hard because we can't see. And lots of times, and I think sometimes that's necessary too, because hardships seem to pave a way to get you to where you belong, if you may not have discovered any other way. And so I want to talk about, how do we find that path? The first thing I think is nani sunte, shunte, nani shunta, and that means prayer. We got to start out with prayer. And so we give ourselves to Dhamma Appa, right? That means we got to let go of the ego and let go of that idea that we have to have control over everything. Okay, that is not our way of thinking, and it wasn't our ancestors' way of thinking. It was about about giving in and accepting things that are coming, because we know those lessons are coming to teach us, but having compassion during that time of those difficulties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the prayer, I've relied on that all my life. And as a small girl, um, I had this power and belief in who I was. And it's not until like difficulties came along, and humanness of other people who you have no control of when you're young, or it could be even as adults, but you don't have control over how they treat you. And by the age of 12, 13 years old, I gave in of that power, gave into that power, believing that, oh, I must, whatever that human was telling me must be true, because it keeps they keep, reinforcing that. So by then I'm thinking, maybe this is true. But then when I kept praying and I would ask, please help me to have power and the strength to hold on to the belief in who I am, and I would get this peace. And I would ask, please help me through these difficult times. And then Creator would send me aunties to talk to, uncles to talk to. Uncles are great uncles who would tell me they love me. They tell me that I'm the best thing in this world. And they would build me up, and I would hang on to those words. And so Creator sends us friends. Maybe it's just one friend, maybe it's many friends, but he sends us friends and relatives. And it doesn't matter if it's, it might be a relative that's not within our blood, but they become relatives. And so we have these ways to connect and be online, and they can help us align our intelligent being back onto the path. So I really think it's so important that we rely on the prayer, and rely on Creator, because we need to rely on the Creator. We need to rely on our spiritual ancestors, and they'll come to us and when we are in need of them, because they love us and they haven't forgotten us, and they still want to be a part of our lives and direct us. And in Indigenous perspective, we don't separate the spiritual world and this world, and many different portals and a lot of things, in those ways. They're all one. We live in them back and forth, and that's what the path is trying to stay and honor the path and learn from what we have to go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about you today, Rachel, and I was thinking about the hardships that you have come across in your life. But one in particular is when you got into a car accident when you were 17, 18.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed your whole life for a while. For a while, you were angry about it, but then you went and sought and was seeking physical therapy, and you ended up going to gyrotonic, right? And then you
Mm-hmm.
went and got certified, and then you had other things happen to you that you're like, how am I going to raise my vibration? So you took sound bowl therapy, and then you went and got certified, and then before you know it, you're in, a emotion body code practitioner, and then before you know it, you have a wellness center. But would you have gone in that direction had you not had those experiences? You might have just stayed as a dancer, a professional dancer. I'm going to state that, ballet dancer, people. Come on, get your minds out of the gutter. But you wouldn't have gone in those directions had difficulties if they never showed up.
Well, it wouldn't have gone the way that it did, but my plan was already to go to school to be a physical therapist before my car accident. So I had already set in mind to be a doctor. And then when I got in my car accident, and I'll talk about that one real quick too, because on our path, we are all given our own unique talents. And creator gives us our own talents, and one of my biggest talents was ballet, dance, modern, flamenco, hip hop, jazz, lyrical jazz, character. I was trained in all forms of dance, and from I started at 3 years old all the way up to 17. And on my path there was a huge shift of direction, uh, ownership, and new teachers, directors in the Oregon Ballet Theater. And I was treated completely different from what I was for, 15 years up to that point. And I was almost treated like I was a kid again. And so I got upset, and I got tired of going to dance, and got tired, and I was getting sick, and I was losing my motivation to go. And I got so angry that I decided that I was going to quit dance. I was done with dance, and I'm walking away from it forever. And instead of going and saying, you know what, let me look for a different place. Yes, there's other dance schools in Portland that are good, but they're not as good as a world class, Oregon Ballet Theater. But in order to dance, I could have looked at other options like other dancers were doing. But I got so angry with how I was being treated, and I was like raised and molded and then like shunned aside when we had new directors come in because they brought their own dancers in. And I threw my point shoes in the trash can. And I remember you saying, if you're really done, I want you to throw your point shoes in the trash can. Well, I was so angry and emotional at that time that I just, without it, I was like, yep, I'm done. I don't even want to go back there. Meaning that I didn't want to go back to Oregon Ballet Theater. And but I threw it away. 3 days later, I was in a car accident, and I was told I was never going to dance again. So going now, that shifted things. So yes, I was going to go into physical therapy, but now it shifted into a whole nother direction of things as a dancer. I had a 360 spinal cord hyperextension. My psoas was pinched deep into my femurs. My hips were slammed. It was really bad. And I literally had about 30 doctors tell me I was never going to dance again. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm tired of people telling me I can't dance again. So I went and started dancing again in adult class. But um, I was struggling, and there was a girl that saw me in there, Melissa, and afterwards she, came up to me and she goes, "Have you ever heard of this system called gyrotonic?" And I remember looking at her and I was like, "Gyro, what? What?" That's exactly what I said. "Gyro, what? What? I've never heard of this." And she started explaining this to me, and it was a different form of physical therapy. I'm not going to get into it too much, but it's kind of a combination of like you're swimming in water, but you have a pulley weight system that assists your body so that you can move in circular rotation, strengthening the muscles and the ligaments from the inside out and connecting everything together. So you're decompressing the spine and the bones rather than compressing, while stretching and strengthening flexibility at the same time. So over the time of doing this, I started seeing a new direction of where my path was going. And I, by the time I think it was about 4 months into training with this woman, she said that I needed to go get trained in myself. And so I was like, okay, so how do I figure this out? I can get financial help, through my grandfather at that time, which is a blessing. But at that time, it was only to go to BYU, Utah. That's the only way that if he was going to fund me going to college was going to BYU. And so I ended up having to come up with a whole business proposal and plan of showing that this new form of physical therapy from Europe was actually helping my body. And so I actually went and got trained into that. So then it opened up another world of me having compassion for others that go through injuries, because up to that point, at 17, I had little injuries here and there, but because of how I was trained, um, I I didn't really get injured as much. But so up to that point, if I would have gone into physical therapy right away, I wouldn't have had as much compassion for bodies and pain that actually exist inside the
Mhm.
body, and understanding arthritis and scoliosis and hip problems, knee problems, joint problems. And so I ended up, it was like creator said, okay, you're going to have to go through all of these things that a lot of people deal with on a daily basis, so that you can go and help them. And so then it did start steering me down another direction. Then I get cancer and I have to learn, okay, I apply herbology. I get certified and go get my degree in herbology. And then like you said, with the sound bowl, raising my vibration. And to me, it was that I fell in love with these modalities that were helping me when I was seeking, and I've been seeking for all different types of therapies and healing modalities. And so if this works for me, I know it's going to work for other. And so my thing was that, okay, if this works for me, then I know how I can help others, and this is going
Mhm.
to help others. And so then that's where that led to the wellness center. So then by the time we opened the wellness center, and I have, 70-year-old clients, 80-year-old clients, big range, of clients and age. But the older ones, they would dismiss me at first and tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about in relation to their pain and what they were going through. But because of all of the traumas that I've had to go through the past 15 years, um, I was able to relate with them, and they would look at me and go, "Oh, okay, you you do have problems too. Like, okay, you do
Mhm.
understand. Oh, you do have physical pain and emotional pain. Okay, you get it." Then we start to create another form of relationship that helps me with them on their path. And for me, it's like giving them the tools so that I'm not constantly doing it. And I tell my patients, yes, I'd love to see you every day or every week, but the goal is to not see you. And
Right.
the goal is that you have your own tools, and that you gain the tools and knowledge so that you don't need to come see me anymore, and that you can apply them every day in your life. And so
Mhm.
that's kind of like where it's led to this podcast too, going through COVID and um, not being able to perform, not being able to do certain things for me. I was like, okay, I'm not sharing my voice right now. I'm not speaking. So then I started noticing like my throat was hurting more, and I was losing my voice. And it was until I started speaking and sharing, and then being inspired to start this podcast even. So there is so many things, and you are correct that if I hadn't gotten in that car accident at 17, I would not be where I am today. I would have, who knows where I would be.
Right. Right. And so we have to, when we go through difficult times, take the moment and take the time to say, okay, what is it that I'm learning here? And so the next thing, as I said, we want to have that prayer and asking, right?
Hmm.
Prayer is one thing that is one area of our lives that can be habit and can be a powerful force. You've got to set time. Once we find a routine in what you're going to do and how you're going to prepare for your prayer, your body cells start to remember and it will listen, right? It's our body cells will tell us it's time to be quiet, go outside, go, sit in the sun, or take your shoes and socks off and walk in the grass. Our body cells remember those things and want us to be quiet so that we can start to just slow down and have that prayer and meditate. It's the stimuli of cedar, sage, or the sound of the drum, or just walking by the trees. Those things help us and to remember, prayer, right? And prayer doesn't, I don't know, I was taught, you get on your knees and you pray, and I think that's how everybody had to do things, and through trauma, boarding schools, but to me, prayer is everywhere. Every walk I make, every time I see or hear an ambulance, prayer, bless that person who's struggling and going through, to help them, paramedics to have knowledge to help this person. See a child crying, down the street. Oh, help them. They hurt themselves. But a prayer is everything, every day and every moment of your life. Um, or a negative thought comes through your mind. Oh my gosh, no. Creator, take this. I can't have this in my mind, So we need to create a routine where it's just automatically done. And our ancestors know this. First thing in the morning, you get up and you go outside and you greet the sun and you offer your prayers. And, at night, and I know, Rachel, you do this often, and this is your thing that you're so good at that. But I have to admit that I don't get up all the time. Once about 3 months before Sundance, all of a sudden I'm wide awake and right at 5 o'clock, ready, right?
Hmm.
But for
Hmm.
some reason, I'm not doing that, and I think I need to pay attention to that a little more. And so I have some work to do, but always there's a prayer in my heart. So it's a very powerful force that we need to have this routine and make it, okay, this is the time I'm going to pray. Or you hear this voice that says, get outside now, go and pray. Or right now, someone needs you, start praying for that person. So be have that ability and start listening. Your cells will remember, and they will hear what is necessary and need what you need. So that's one of the things I think is important. Establish a routine in our lives to pray. So that's a different, there's different methods to arrive at that quiet time for everyone. So find that balance and find that time what works for you the most. Another thing is to be specific in your prayers. Okay. You
Hmm.
can't just go, okay, well, Creator, I'm having a bad day and I'm having a hard time with finances. I'm having a hard time being motivated to exercise. I'm having those are good, but be a little more specific. I'm struggling to eat more vegetables and fruits. Give me the desire to have that in my body, to have the beauty, natural foods in my body that will help heal my inner organs. And so, it's just simple. Like, I'm just giving you something simple, but be specific in what you need. I have rent coming up and I don't know what to do. Please, Father, will you, grandfather, however you want to address our Creator, help me to have hope and to recognize where I can ask for help or who I can ask for help. I need to pay my rent and I don't know what to do. Please inspire me. And then be patient. It might be answered that minute, but it might not be answered in a few weeks. Or you need a job and you need an answer. You want to have that answer right now, but maybe everything's in the making. I'm all about the flow, right? Flow, just go with the flow. If you interrupt it because we're so impatient and we're so stubborn, we interrupt that whole process of in the making of what Creator's trying to do for us. So stay out of your way. And that's so hard to do. I've had to learn this. It's not always been easy in my life, but now, I just stay out of my way. I'm like, I would do my best. I will walk my best. I will follow the path and try to always strive for the harmony and spirituality. I strive for that. And then the things that I can't control, I just have to let it be until Creator just is able to make and pave the way for me to get through. Maybe these are big boulders that I'm going to have to climb and I have to figure out every step. But in order to climb those boulders, I will be in prayer which one I should trust to get to the top, right? So I think that's really important. So be specific and have compassion for yourself and for others while you're going through the waiting time. And it'll happen. It'll happen for you. I promise. It always works out. And I always hear that from my mom. It's going to work out. It's going to be okay. Just see
Have
it
faith.
and have faith. And faith is about it's already done, right? It's done. So just believe that it's taken care of and it's done. And you don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So we need to have that faith in the Creator and the ancestors who may come in a dream. Those are the blessings. I feel so fortunate to have that, have those dreams so that I'm directed in what I need to be doing. And so I'm very appreciative for that. But it takes time. You got to listen and pay attention. Another thing is that in Shoshone, it says it's Nane and it means ask for prayers. I love this part in Indigenous country. When you get on Facebook or my Instagram and I see shout outs, prayers, I need prayers. My family's struggling, or my family, one of my family members in the hospital. I love that we can call on each other and you see just comments, prayers, we're there for you, prayers. We need to ask for that help. Ask for prayers, right away. And for us, and what I love is you have your ceremony people and your ceremony relatives, and we can call each other. I don't know how many times through raising you all, not knowing what to do. Oh, we'd call one of my ceremony sisters and ask, please pray. And I don't have to talk about it. I just will text everybody, I need your prayers. Help me to be strong, or help me to understand, help my children. We all need that help. And we need to always ask for that prayer, because we can't do it alone. We cannot live on this journey alone. And we're not meant to be alone. We're meant to help each other and lift each other. And when you're strong and I'm not, and I'm weak, you can lift me. And when I'm strong and you're weak, I can lift you. So it's both ways. We need each other during this difficult time. And I love that in our Indigenous families, how we're all like rooting each other on and saying, we got this, we could do this, and how we're being so supportive nationally. So it's wonderful to see. But I think those are the main points I want to just talk about is, again, how do we find that path? Prayer, nanashunti. So prayer, give ourselves to Dhamma Appa. Let go of the ego. Be patient while you're on your own path. Give yourself compassion. We're human beings, and we sometimes allow others to put a perception that is not true on to us, and we need to let that go and just truly hold on to that intelligent being that we are, and then make a habit. Establish a habit and a routine, and then be specific in your prayers, and then ask for prayers. And when you do that, those are just small steps. It's not the only step, but to me, if you have that relationship with Creator, everything's just going to flow so much better versus you trying to do it alone. And that is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, I had a nephew and who was unsure because of the difficult times that he faced and had to go through, that he didn't know if there was Creator at all. But yet he knew. And I knew that he knew because, again, we are born with the spiritual intelligence, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was aware of that. And I just would say, well, first, just have appreciation. That's a prayer. Oh, I woke up today. Thank you. I woke up in a warm bed. Thank you. So start with the gratitude. If you don't know who is Creator and don't have that relationship, start small. And then with gratitude, start to notice the beauty in this world, the simple things, the beautiful butterflies, the trees I love right now are, the magical colors that are happening and falling. And so it's time for us, listen to nature, time for us to shed the old ways and get ready and renew ourselves and rest and be gentle and compassionate during the winter. And then the spring we could blossom. And so it's going to take time. It's not done all at once, fall, winter, spring, summer. It's all by seasons. So go with the flow with the seasons. That will help you. And once you connect with that, then I believe you're going to connect with Creator, and your ancestors will help too. So those are my words for today. And thank you so much, Rachel, for
I'm
inviting
like,
me.
wait, no. um, Something keeps coming to me is talk about the sun dance, because one of the biggest things that I learned about like really staying true to my path is dancing, being a sun dancer and dancing in that arbor. And when you're in there for 4 days in the Shoshone, we don't have any. I know there's other tribes out there that give water on certain and days and things, but for us, we don't get any water or food for 4 days. And by that third day, it's very, very hard. You're in 100 and, for us, the last Sundance was 117 degrees, I believe, on that third day. But it's, staying focused. And
Mhm.
this is the thing that I kept hearing today, is that in Sundance is in the center is the pole. And yes, there's a pole there, but it symbolizes so much more than just the pole. That's creator, that's, man and woman coming together, Mother Earth and creator coming to earth. And that's where you focus on creator. When I remember the first time I was in there, I would stay focused on the pole, but then because of ADD, my eyes and my vision would start to wander, and I would start looking around at what everybody's doing, and then all of a sudden I would get a thorn in my foot, and it would remind me, and I'd look down, I'm like, oh, I'm not paying attention to my path. Or
Mhm.
I would look down, and now all of a sudden I'm crossing paths with someone else, or with one of the sisters that's next to me. Or at one point, I think I crossed over into your path, and then I have to like go refocus again. And I'm like, no, stay on my path. And in life, we hear this a lot, the sheep herders, the cattle, everybody's following the herd. It's trying this path is staying on your path. We can follow what everybody's doing, but when we start following what everybody's doing, we're not really listening to what creator wants us specifically to do in our path. We can
Mhm.
all move forward together, but each one of us has our own mission, our own callings, our own gifts, we are our own. There's not one of us that is created the same. So we can try and, beat ourselves up that I don't look like her, I don't look like him, I don't do this, my hair isn't this long. I'm not fit, or we can go and do these things, but then now you're looking into the world. You're looking
Mhm.
at what the world is wanting you to do. Now you're starting to go off your path. And one of the biggest things that as a dancer that you taught me was, thank goodness you never had a scale. And you
Mhm.
always taught me to feel good. It doesn't matter
Yes.
what I weigh on the scale, it's how I feel. And if we own into what we individually we feel, then you're going to be happier. Then,
Mhm.
instead of comparing yourselves constantly to other people, because what you're doing is you're doing this again, what I did in Sundance. You're paying attention to this woman's beadwork over here. Oh, I don't have pretty moccasins like that. And it's like, no, we're back. That's not what the purpose is. We're in here to
Mhm.
dance. We're in here to pray. Every step, every walk in those 4 days, everything is a constant prayer. So when we come out into the world, it's the same thing. Every step that we do it's that prayer. But then we also, because we're aware, we can be aware of others that are around us. That's when we can also know, hey, I know this person needs prayers. I see this person needs help. um
Mhm.
the other day, there was this woman that was really struggling with her crutches and walking. She had just got out of surgery, and I was heading out of the rebound physical therapy, and I could have easily just walked in front of her, and I could have easily just got on, because of COVID, I could have easily just got on that elevator and just left her there in the hall, and just like made her wait for the next one because she wasn't fast enough. But instead, I kept actually being aware of her needs. without her
Mhm.
having to say anything. So I held the door for her. Then I held the door for her getting out. And then I was walking ahead of her, and then I started noticing that the handicap door, because I opened the handicap door for her, and it started to close. And so I held it for her because she wasn't making it there fast enough. We can assist each other, we can help each other, we be aware, then we can know, okay, this is when we can actually go in and actually help this person. Or
Mhm.
being in tune, there's especially like there's so many different home kinds of homeless people, and especially here in Portland, and we're always taught, that it's the community's job and responsibility to take care of the homeless. And so we can blame the government all we want, but really we should be looking at ourselves as a community, and why aren't we helping our own people? Why aren't we helping our own brothers and sisters on the street?
Mhm.
And so, you know, listening, oh, okay, I may not have money, but this I have water. I can give this person a water. The other day I only had $10 left until in my pocket until I got paid the next day. And I got to dance, and there was a whole homeless man sitting there on the side, and I just hear, give him your $10. And so I just walked over there and I just gave it to him, and I said, here, creator says he wants you to have this, go get some breakfast. I don't have
Mhm.
time to go get it for you. And he kind of looked at me and he was like, well, don't you need this for your truck? And I was like, no, I'll be okay. But then that's where I have that where you've helped me and raised me with grandma too, is having that faith that, you know what, if you're going to give your last dollar, it's going to come back.
Mhm.
And it was later on that day I ended up getting $50 that was just randomly sent to me. And so I just knew that I would be taken care of. I also gave a, a umbrella because it was raining really bad the other day, and this guy was walking, and I don't know if he was homeless or not, but it looked like he needed an umbrella, so I gave him my umbrella. I could have been, well, this is my umbrella and I paid, for this, or I have a sentiment value to it, but it's no, I can replace that. And here, take this. You need this more than me. So that now is a return. Maybe that man was praying for someone to give him an umbrella,
Right, and you were the answer to
answer
that
to
prayer.
that prayer. So it's not just being on the one side of asking for prayers, but it's also, being in tune and listening and staying focused. Creator, help me be, a tool so that
Mhm.
I can also help others. So it's not
Um,
just about me,
yes.
it's also about others. So I wanted to speak on that. That's been, I guess, kind of been replaying through my mind today, is that, stay focused on the pull, creator, stay focused on you, but still be aware of those that are around you. That doesn't mean that, okay, Rachel said stay focused on me, so I'm only going to do me, and I'll get to you when I can. It's no, you have to find a balance. And that's one of the biggest things that I had to learn through this last round of cancer, is learning how to find a balance, because I gave too much of myself that I didn't give back to myself.
Right. It's all about the balance
Mhm.
and simplify. That's my motto this year is simplify. Don't overextend myself and know my limits and just listen. I want to do more, but I just hear no, stay still, simplify. And I
And it's
and
okay.
and at times it feels guilty. Like I feel like I need to do more. I need to and then I hear no. They're okay. Simplify, Rochelle. You stay quiet for a while. It's just stay still. And
Mhm.
it's so uncomfortable for me and it's so strange, but I have to listen to that and honor my body. I mean, we've gone through a lot the past few years, and I just have to honor that and say, okay, it's all right. It's okay. So,
It's
this
okay to say
year,
no.
yes. So this year I said, okay, then I will only be involved in only 2 organizations, and I'm not going to do more than that. I'll just simplify. And not to say I won't help others, but I'm just saying that I I just need to take care of my well-being. So, um,
As we all
it's
need to.
strange. It's a strange thing for me to do. So I'm on the other side, like I'm the one maybe needing those prayers to be strong and to hold space for everyone. And there's lots going on. So that's where I need to, just really stay focused on that. And I thank you for that wonderful example about staying focused. It's so important that we stay focused on that and on the pull and on your own path, because once you get off, it's hard. It's hard when you start to take on everyone else's emotions, um, and it's so important. And what I love about Sundance is, again, that's that routine. Our cells automatically know and remember, like this, you could barely, the sun's not even up, but you could feel it, and then you're wide awake.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then at nighttime, so it's this, and what songs are going to be coming, exactly what you're doing, when hopefully the greens are going to come in and the cattail to cool you down a bit. Exactly that routine, because it's done over and over and over. And
Mm-hmm.
those prayers that when we're going to pray, we know when we're going to get up and be told to get up and dance. And yeah, so thank you, Rachel. It's a great segment. It's a great example for everyone to have that focus, stay focused.
Mm-hmm. And don't get distracted.
And if there's distraction, like, stop yourself from going there. Just go, okay, go back to
Yep.
where I need to
Recognize.
be. And if things you're doing in your life that are bringing you difficulties, and realize that it's you who are getting in the way. So so seek for that help. And there's so much to say about this, but let's probably just stay simple with
Mm-hmm.
this part of what we're talking about on the
Because
red road.
we've got more to bring up and
Yeah.
talk
So
further on with the next topics.
let's just stick with that. Prayer is a way to help you have harmony and spirituality on, to get you on the path that you need to be on for you.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be pressured. And if you feel pressured, you're just going to have to take it. Take
Be
the
strong,
pressure and be strong. And that it can mean you're alone too.
but you're not
But
alone.
you're not alone. And so you got to remember, we live in a realm of the spirits, are here and they're around us, and we got to remember they're there for us too. So we're not alone. And I don't know, I feel like we do that we must hurt their feelings
Mm,
when they're right there.
mm,
And we say, I'm alone, but they're like, but we're right here.
mm-hmm.
But I'm alone, but we're right here. I think we need to pay attention to that. Let's help one another and as brothers and sisters, and uplift each other. And if one is not behaving the way they need to be, and it's not on the good red road, then pray for them that they will see, that they will learn soon to get back on that path. Because we all been there when we've not made the best decisions and choices in our lives. And it's so nice when you still have someone who has compassion for you. I'm still worth being loved. And that's what we need to do for our brothers and sisters. Show them their worth being loved, even when they don't behave that way. Even when I don't behave the best, just show me some compassion, help me through that. Oh, something must be happening.
Mm.
And, you know, we got to be so kind to one another and pray for each other. And if anything we've learned through this COVID is that, is that if we take our thoughts off and focus off Creator, there's so much chaos that happens, and then you can feel the tension, and it's not a good way. Even if we don't agree, we still need to say, well, help me to deal with this, help me to stay focused on my path and redirect me where I need to be, because off I'm off my path right now and I don't know how to get back on it. So, like that, be specific in your prayers. So, Rachel, thank you so much for having me here with
Thank
you.
you.
And I
I'm excited.
appreciate
This
this.
goes right into our next segment next week, is our vision of the path. So
Yes.
that's perfect where we just left off. That will lead right into there. So thank you. And thank you, everyone. Oos, and have a beautiful night. We'll see you next week.